Has the Premier League ever been more challenging?
Wel, I feel welcome. Dit is my home and I want to achieve success. Okay?
Mason Greenwood. Yes, Mason Greenwood. The name that nobody dares to mention nowadays is arguably the most taboo topic even to be mentioned or even spoken about within the global Manchester United fan base community. And that is ever since that story broke out January 22, with allegations of domestic violence, potential rape, involvement of his girlfriend Harriet Robson. Yes, we seen all the images, we heard all the audio snippets, but how do we know? How do we know that this has been tampered with or even manipulated for it to look worse, for us to cast the first stone? Why does it spark so many emotions and split opinions when it comes to this? Why has it become taboo not even to be able to speak with that without getting ridiculed? Hence the silence. Hence I feel we need to have a proper adult discussion regarding this. As a disclaimer, under no shape or form do we MUFC Realist TV take a stance or a side. We condemn any form of violence or injustice. But one thing we don't do here is to look the other way. We always look at what's real, from a holistic 360 degree, viewing it from that point of view, presenting you with the known facts, meaning both sides of the stories, and at the end of the day, we'll let you decide what's real and what is your opinion in this matter. Now, before we continue this story and this debate, we have to look how it all started. Mason Greenwood made his debut 2019 and went on to score 35 goals in 129 appearances to establish himself as one of the most brightest young talent in Europe. Let that sink in. He was praised by many to be the best natural finisher they have ever seen. Two-footed, banging in goals. Everyone was waxing lyricals about him. The question is now, and what many fans are raising, why would you throw away your career? And who did benefit the most out of this? Meaning, you're looking at the smearing in the media and some defamation. Speaking about defamation cases, we've seen it all before, haven't we, in high-profile cases? Lately, we've seen Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Why should footballers or celebrities be treated separately outside the law? As per my logic and reasoning, the law applies equally to all, don't they? You presume innocent until proven otherwise, at least in UK. So how can we look ourselves in the mirror? And how can we move on from this? And that is kind of the reason why I'm doing this podcast. We have to be allowed to express our opinions and speak freely. Why has it become taboo to even talk or mention about it without getting ridiculed? You know what I'm talking about. We seem to have a sort of emotion when we're living in a world where our freedom of speech is being attacked, or of freedom of thoughts, yet the cancellation and fake news is trending on socials. This is the world we're living in. Not even to mention the impact of the Me Too movement, that set the tone and precedent of so many false allegations, destroyed so many people's reputations and careers. Why? For empowerment. Yeah, I do respect that. I do get that. I do respect diversity. I'm all for diversity and inclusion, but not injustice agendas. As a human being, we have to ask ourselves the question, who are we to cast the first stone? Has there been enough compelling evidence for the public to judge? Or is the accusation alone already made up for us to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner, despite us not having enough close to all of the facts available to us? How do we know it's not been manipulated or tampered with for the public to cast a vote? I feel it's not for us to decide, but I strongly feel that we cannot sit on our hands not to have a conversation about it. if you know what I mean. I feel that we need a closure. There has to be some form of clarity in form of a statement from the club, Mason and Harriet, for us, in order to move forward. In logic and reasoning, you're presumed innocent in UK until you're proven otherwise. Or, again, as iterated earlier, this podcast is made for you to see things clearer. It's not for us to decide any sides, it's for causing a debate and a purpose, looking from the topic from both sides for you to apply logic and reasoning, and at the end of the day, what you decide is your opinion. Peace, love and respect. Let's continue with this podcast.
I think one thing I want to just ask kind of the panel's opinion on the VAR room. Let us know what you think. One of my thoughts is, obviously we talked a lot about replacing striker or getting a new starting striker. So to me, if you do that, you then put Rashford on the left. Anthony, should everything off the pitch get sorted out beforehand, and if he gets proved to be innocent, he stays. He seems to be the starting right winger. So everyone's saying start Garnacho. So where does Garnacho play? You know, you've got Garnacho who plays best on the left. We've proved that. Rashford plays best on the left, and we're talking about spending a lot of money on a striker. So where does everybody fit in? Who's just starting front four?
It depends on who we're getting. Like if we're getting put it to Nick. I think.
Well, you've got to think of it as in the depth of our squad. We don't have to have all the players that we've got being those starting 11. So Rashford could start on the left and actually give Garnacho the chance to come in maybe with 30 minutes to go, because Rashford does show signs of being slightly weary, but actually Rashford can move into the centre. I want to prioritise a striker. I think that we need a striker, but I also think that we've got players within our squad at the moment that can interchange quite a bit. I think we're going to struggle a bit with Anthony if all those charges and other stuff comes to fruition. I also read something about Tenhag reluctant to get rid of, I'll just say the G word. Yeah. So you've got to think about the players that we've already got and who is that striker that's going to come in and make the squad better. Do we have an out-and-out striker, or do we have somebody that can play a bit further back? And a bit like a Harry Kane is an out-and-out striker, but he comes so far back into that midfield and creates play within that. Do we need more of that kind of player than just a goal poacher? Yeah. So again, I think it depends what Ten Hag's plan is.
I think Ten Hag's plans, I mean, just reading box here, Mason Greenwood, Mason Mount, plus another Mason, calling 3 Masons. Ha 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 ha. Listen, at the end of the day, we need to talk about it, right? The number 11, it's become a little bit of taboo to talk about it. At the end of the day, I think Ten Hag has him in his plans, because he's contractually speaking a Manchester United player. He's the best finisher that's in the squad at the moment. Of course, he hasn't played the ball for 12 months, but I'm not the one to judge. You know, I want the club to come up with a statement. I want him and his girlfriend, whatever fiance, they're having a baby, to come out and speak to the public, but not through Piers Morgan, of course not. You know what I mean? No. It's not going to be a Piers Morgan scoop. So, and happy days, you know, to loan him out. And if he goes out on a loan and does a madness, or we sell him, the fan base is going to moan anyway. Oh, why did we get rid of Mason? You know what I mean? So just keep it calm, composed, because right now there's a lot of things brewing at the moment with the takeover, just at the right time, at the right moment. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Do you really think that the fan base is going to moan if we get rid of Greenwood? Do you really think that? No, they're not.
But at the same time, I've seen this fan base on Twitter for so many years, right?
Well, yeah, that's
true. They're selling your. Last year they were slagging Rashford, and the same fans are now waxing his lyricals. You know how it is. Like they're so quick to throw players under the bus, right? I'm not used to it. You know what I mean? This is not the Manchester United. I'm always saying support the team, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I see where you're coming from. My issue is that there's such serious charges, and I get that the charges have been dropped. I know that he's now with his girlfriend, fiance, and they're having a baby together. And you know, what was the recording? Was it a setup? Was it a sex game? All that stuff. But
It needs to come
I
out.
think
That's what I'm saying.
you have to be really, really careful because United have got a lot of female followers, and I think you're alienating almost and accepting that happened, but because it didn't go through the courts, that it's okay with it. I'm not saying any's right. I'm just saying that there's
I'm going to speak from
tentative steps.
I'm going to speak from a HR perspective, as me work as a global HR director for many years and people in culture. When you come out and do an internal investigation, then you look into everything that's kind of related to, will it be a damage towards our brand, our company? And that's what they're doing, So they might have done the internal investigation to say, well, you didn't harass anyone, but that's harassment within the company. You know what I mean? But if you're going to break that contract, that's a breach of employment contract, because people forget that players are actually employees.
They are, but there is also you're bringing the company into disrepute. And I know that I work, if we did something that directly impacted the brand or the company and got people asking questions, I would be in breach of my contract because I brought the company into disrepute. So I get what you're saying completely, and I do think that we don't know the ins and outs of it, but I do think that we need to be really careful because Twitter is only one portion of the fan base. We've got a global fan base, and I just think that you have to be really
split, and that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, I don't judge the person because I don't know the story. That's the thing. I don't know if the evidence has been recorded, it's been hijacked, tampered with. I don't know, but there's a reason why you're being cleared. And
well, it wasn't cleared. They dropped the charges because if you've not got a complaining witness, and that person then comes forward and says, "No, I don't want to." I don't want to press charges.
I don't know. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to delude to is, there's been far more players that done far more serious things since they're playing football as well. As soon as the player comes in and bags a couple of goals, everyone's going to forget everything.
Yeah, I do.
That's a fan base. That's a fan base, unfortunately. I don't know. But what I wanted to say, I'm going what Footy Tom says is, there's a reason why Tenhag is looking for Rasmus Højlund. He doesn't look for the clear and obvious, right? Rasmus Højlund is a player that it's going to be, it's probably going to bang in 15 goals this season if we get him. But if you look at firepower, if you have a number 11, if you have Mason Greenwood, you have different options from the wing as well. Garnacho banging goals. You might have a Anthony Dos Santos banging goals. You have a midfield, Mason Mount striking from the 6-yard box, Bruno striking in goals, and all of a sudden there you have goals. You know what I mean? So I get the system, and I understand why he wants Rasmus Højlund, right? Why would you pay 150, 180 million for I don't know, it's a marquee signing. I don't know if we're even going to get a what do you call him? Ozzy, oi. The Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, I'm calling him Phantom of the Opera. Yeah?
I mean, the thing is with Højlund, isn't he rumored to be about 50, 60 million, something like that?
Yeah, but the thing is, you have Lee Cooperton, whatever his name is, sitting there. He was the recruitment director of Leeds, and he was the one, the condos for Harry Maguire. And guess where he's sitting right now? Atlanta. As soon as we came in, Manchester United here. Well, hang on, we originally wanted 45 million, but since you're Manchester United, I'm Lee. Hey, how about 80 million?
But we didn't see that for Mount, though. I know we've discussed enough about Mount, but the actual deal of it, there was 85 was the original value that was being sprouted about. And if it goes to 55, it just shows that we didn't bow down to it. And Murto maybe has got this one right.
No, but he has
stuck to his guns and said, you know what? The window hasn't even opened yet.
But he wasn't Murto, to be honest. It wasn't Murto. He's actually Matt Hargreaves, the new chief negotiator.
Yeah, sorry, of course. Sorry, yeah.
But in the press today, they was trying to bigging up Murto, in Manchester Evening Post. Oh, look, Murto saved the day. He's the hero. You know what I mean? But it was Matt Hargreaves that came in and negotiated.
Yeah, there's
You
no
know,
coincidence. It was two weeks ago he joined us, and we're
2
saying
weeks
we're
ago.
walking away from a deal, which is exactly what we should be doing. Look, there's our offer. Take it or leave it, because we've got other options. You know, Tenhag started the ball rolling when we were still playing the season. He was interviewed and he said,
the thing is,
big players want to come to us.
you know, you have 55 grand in the pocket to spend, but you always want
I
to
haven't.
save some money. When you do budgeting, like when I hire somebody, for instance, in the company, like I know I have 55,000 to offer in salary per month, but if I can get that person for 50
per month,
yeah,
can I work for you?
I was just going to say, Apple.
Can I have a job? I'll do it for half.
no, but as an example, like, all right, let's say 5,000 quid a month, right?
I'll do
So
it.
that is my salary budget, and when I try to recruit you in, I know, and that's why I'm asking you, like, you know, how much do you want in salary? You say, oh, okay, I'm cool with are you cool with 4,500? You say, yeah, cool. Then at the end of the day, we saved ourselves money, so that 5,000 can be pushed for another recruit. That's how it works.
Yeah,
that's the thing. So we didn't really overpay. If we had a budget to set on 55, to be honest, we set 50 plus 5 add-ons at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, we met at the middle, because at the end of the day, we're paying 55 plus adding on 5 add-ons as KPIs, which is keep achievable performance indexes.
Yeah. I just want to chip in on Greenwood. I know we're finished and that ball is dead, but the thing with Greenwood, I think we could utilize him as a bargain chip in getting strikers this season, because it will be a win-win for all parties that he leave on a loan right now this summer and get a couple of seasons abroad. So, for example, if we buy Højlund, we can say, okay, here you go, 55 million, and we throw in Greenwood for 2 seasons free on the loan.
Yeah, and I'm just going to finish off this with Red or Dead. Like, if police could press charges or everything on the internet, we all behind bars.
I'd be dead. I would be truly
You'd be
banged
dead,
up.
Nick.
I would be banged up.
Bang on. I love that.
That's what Jarvis just said. You know, I understand that, and I've kind of seen this, and I think that by doing that, what it does, it moves him away from being associated directly to the club, and it gives us longer to find out a bit more of what is actually gone on behind the scenes, because I fully understand Nick's passion behind what's being said, and I know that's at least 50% of the fan base, and I'm very much a case of if it's happened, then you've got to be well, you don't really want that sort of person associated with the club, but at the same time, and I know that people might laugh at what I'm about to say, but I remember years ago, before all this social media and recording phones and photos and everything, Phil Jones was accused of rape on the Christmas do. And eventually it was proved to be, apparently it was proved to not be true. Yeah. And so what the point I'm making off that is, we do see things that think straight away, get rid, absolutely not. Yeah. And then it turns out reportedly to be innocent. Now, whether it is or isn't, we'll never know. I'm not slating Phil Jones or anything like that, but I'm just an example that I was thinking about earlier today. And I know we've seen the videos and things like that, Nick. So, you know, absolutely, and it turned your stomach the minute anybody who has heard it. Yeah. But I think
we did. Sorry, Phil, just to jump in, we did only hear a snippet of it. Yeah. And again, when I totally get the point of you've got to put it into context. Was it much longer, and that was a snippet to make it sound like the worst
exactly
part? We don't know, and I get that we don't know, but I just think we need to be really careful.
But when you look at go on, sorry,
somebody said in the chat that the police can press charges without a complaining witness. They can, but it's going to be they've got to weigh it up against, is it in the public's best interest in terms of how much is it going to cost, and are we likely to get a conviction? And if you've got the person saying no, and then that person is pregnant as well, it's not in the public's best interests in the fact that there's not a complaining witness. So if it was something like murder, and I'm not saying that, you know, rape isn't as bad, but, you know, there are instances where the police won't press charges because there isn't enough evidence to support.
This is a serious discussion now. We have to talk about it. It's
Sorry,
therapy.
sorry.
No, it's therapy because apparently also in Brazil, like, Anthony dos Santos' ex-girlfriend that he split up over 1 year ago, had come up with allegations as well. Over 1 year ago, he came over to Ajax, like, and then he went on 100 million move and all of a sudden become this big star player. And funny enough, like 1 year later, she comes out and goes to police station in Brazil to press charges. So there's a lot of things. If you remember this Me Too movement, for instance, like, that was very popular. Like, people were pressing charges left, right, center. There was like a hashtag Me Too. And I'm speaking from personal relation, because I got done by it, to be honest. I'm speaking with open heart because I was alleged as well without even any evidence. Somebody said, well, he sexually assaulted somebody. And I was like, well, I didn't do that, But instantly, like, you cast the first stone, and I lost my job. But I won it in a court case, basically, because I was innocent. But I went through 6 months of hell in arbitration to prove my innocence, and that kind of smeared my name as well. You know what I mean? So it's a very dangerous game. This because it became very popular. Like, you might have seen something, Nick, that I was giving a girl, like, just like, hello, how are you, like a hug or something, and you go straight to the HR director and report this guy's hugging her, like sexual harassment. You could have been the friend of the friend reporting. You know what I mean? It became so ridiculous. I'm just putting out there. I was completely innocent. I fought that in law. I paid ridiculous amount of money for the lawyers, but I didn't mind because I knew deep inside my heart I was innocent. But it really crushed me, to be honest. And people around me couldn't believe that either. And when I asked about where's the evidence, they didn't want to give it. It was just pure, even if it was pure BS, they want to just get rid of you as a person, making up the allegations or not. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not being biased in certain sense, but I'm very, very concerned about evidence, right? Because I'm all about, like, do you have compelling evidence? Show it. If you don't, there's no case.
No.
So
But it doesn't. You don't.
Personal.
These days, Mick, though, to smear somebody's name, you don't even need evidence. You just need an accusation. And I wholeheartedly believe that women and men who make those allegations falsely.
But I ended up getting, what do you call it? In Swedish, we call it Jarvis skadestånd. Damages for reputation. I won it, and they have to pay out at the end of the day. So I was the winner. But the thing
you weren't, were you? Because you went through 6 months of hell. So again, it's not just about
it destroys your mental health.
To
be honest,
it does. And people who make those allegations falsely should be held accountable, and they should serve jail time, because quite easily it could have been the person that they accused going to jail for something that they didn't do.
But
so
it is serious.
It doesn't matter whether it's male or female. For me, you're making false allegations, and you found
and then
out.
You have this. Then you had this famous disinformation case with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. If you remember that as well. That turned out to be absolutely BS as well. So that's one of the case references you can take, because they went all the way to court, and it was proven that she tampered with evidence, and she basically recorded and cut snippets. And we know this story. So there's far more things that you got to take in consideration before you judge the person. You know what I mean?
I think for Greenwood to be able, I'll say his name. I know that we're allowed to, kind of. I think for him to come back to the club, there'd have to be some serious PR work done by the club in a way to be able to. They'd have to explain what's going on. They'd have to, they'd have to. They couldn't just kind of bring him back to training and suddenly he's featured on Man United's website. Look who's back, sort of thing. They're not going to play that sort of game. They know that whatever decision they make, it's got to be because they fully believe what has occurred, and they've got all the facts that we'll never see.
I'm going with Darren Scott here as well. False allegations ruins lives and careers. 100%. It ain't matter. We're living in today's modern society with social media and everything. Even if you're innocent, you're still guilty. That's the point.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, this is going to be discussed. This and any other similar situation and there's always going to be two sides. And I'll put a very simple statement to you. Would the fan base be interested if it was a player who nobody really heard of that much?
I thank you for listening to this podcast, and I hope we shared justice in terms of presenting both sides of the stories and allowing you to be you and allowing you to digest the information. And at the end of the day, what matters is what you think. So let us know your feelings. Let us know if you think that Mason Greenwood should not or should play for Manchester United again. It's been Mick Ruby from MUFC Realist TV. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we shall see you very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.